What's up, everybody? Welcome to She's Vibey. My name is Danny. If you are new, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming by. If you are returning, what's up? Thanks for coming back. So today I'm not pulling out any cards. This is going to be a different type of video, one that I've never done. Please let me know how you guys feel and if you guys would like more videos like this, because I will definitely do that for you. But I wanted to have a talk, okay? I wanted to talk about some things. So, in the next couple weeks, you guys are going to be seeing memes and jokes and everything all over the place on all your social media platforms, your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, about Mercury, and Mercury being in micro braids, Mercury being in Gatorade, all that fun stuff, right? And of course, I'm talking about Mercury retrograde. Now, while that's all fun and good, I've noticed that it just seems like it's more of like a trendy topic around those times. But when I'm talking to and dealing with different types of people, I'm often realizing that a lot of people really don't even know what that means. And so I wanted to kind of break that down in just a quick little video, kind of talk about Mercury retrograde, why we give a damn in the first place, what it means for us, and maybe a little bit of advice and tips in how to move forward in a Mercury retrograde time, okay? So, first of all, what is a retrograde? What does it mean for a planet to go in retrograde, right? Well, retrogrades, think of it as an optical illusion. It's basically a perceived backward motion from our view here on planet Earth, right? So, it's seeming like the planet is orbiting in a backwards motion, but really it's not. It's just kind of slowing down, and Earth is kind of catching up. So that's kind of like the scientific, easy explanation of it, right? It's optical illusion. It's perceived backwards motion, but it's not. It's a slowdown. It's all of that, right? So one thing to be clear about as well is Mercury is not the only planet that retrogrades. Okay, all the planets retrograde. Mercury does, Venus does, Mars, all of them, Saturn, all of the planets. But I think why we make a bigger deal of Mercury retrogrades is, number one, it retrogrades most often, right? It retrogrades more than any other planet, okay? So Mercury being so close to the sun, it takes about 88 days to do a full orbit around the sun. That's one thing to know. Mercury retrogrades last about 3 weeks, right? And it happens about every 3 to 4 months, or I'm sorry, 3 months. So basically we have Mercury retrogrades 3 to 4 times a year, right? So that's also why it's such a popular topic. It's something that we feel like is always coming around. I feel like whenever I'm talking to any of my girlfriends, they're like, damn, Mercury's retrograde again. It's like, yes, girl, every 3 months, get ready for it, know what's happening, whatever. Okay, so it's the planet that retrogrades the most often. And that is why it is such a big deal, okay? Now, what is Mercury? Okay, so Mercury, as we've already talked about, is a planet. Mercury is the planet that actually rules Virgo and Gemini. So if you have any Virgo and Gemini loved ones, please be extra nice to them during Mercury retrogrades, because I feel like they just probably be going through it every 3 months. I could be wrong. Not only Virgo and Gemini, it could be anybody who has these strong placements in their chart. Of course, everyone's chart is different. Depending on that, things may affect you differently. And for this month in particular, because Mercury is retrograding in Pisces, Pisces people might be feeling this particularly stronger, okay? Now, what are some common things that happen during Mercury retrograde? Well, it's the planet of communication, right? So a lot of times during Mercury retrograde, there's a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of sensitivity around things. There's a lot of things from the past that kind of show themselves to be worked on, to be reassessed, right? Travel plans, there's a lot of delays. It's just a very inconvenient time for a lot of people, but I like to look at things with the silver lining. It's really a time that you can really be very productive, but you can't expect it's like being productive in a very inactive way. Does that make any sense? I don't know. It made sense to me when I said it. There's not a whole lot of doing that you're doing. There's not a whole lot of doing that you're doing. There's not a whole lot of new things that you want to start. You don't really want to start new projects. You kind of just want to tie up the loose ends of the things that you're already working on, right? So it's very much a time where there's a lot of disagreements. There could be a lot of arguments, a lot of sensitivity, like I said, a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of technical difficulties, a lot of, your devices breaking down, that type of stuff. It can be very inconvenient, but really use this time as like a good time to regroup, okay? Like I said before, this time Mercury will be retrograding in Pisces. So yeah, that can be pretty intense. Think about it. Mercury is very much that planet of communication. It's very intellectual. It's very logical. It's very precise. All those things. Where Pisces is a sign that's very spiritual, very imaginative, very vague, very watery. Right? It's very much tied to emotion. So expect that this Mercury retrograde might affect you emotionally, right? It might be a time where you're feeling like you can't emotionally express yourself properly. It might be a time where relationships may be a little bit more challenged. You might be a little bit more in your feels. You might feel a little bit like emotional overwhelm, okay? That is something to be mindful of, because basically when Mercury's retrograding in Pisces, it's really at its detriment, meaning it's not comfortable there. It's like polar opposites, right? It's very much a energy of like, what is this? You know what I mean? Because again, you've got more of the pragmatic and logical, intellectual versus the emotional stuff. So be really patient with yourself. Be very patient with others. Because this time can get a little wonky, can get a little confusing, it can feel a little heavy, and there can be a lot of inner conflict at this time. So definitely be mindful of you, your headspace, all of that, okay? Because Mercury is not able to operate at its like maximum strength, being in Pisces, this is a time that there may be a lot of inner conflicts between, what you think and what you feel. So again, be very patient with yourself. And I want to give you guys a little bit of advice going into this retrograde and what you can do to kind of make it a little bit easier for yourself, okay? Number one, plan ahead, meaning especially in terms of travel. So a lot of times when Mercury's retrograde, there's a lot of delays. So just in your daily commute, whether it's getting to work, if you've got business meetings, you've got interviews, whatever it is, plan ahead, leave a little bit earlier, give yourself more time. Again, delays are super a thing in Mercury retrogrades, okay? Another thing to be mindful of during a Mercury retrograde is to double, triple, quadruple check everything, right? It's something that we should honestly be doing anyways. But in terms of contracts, in terms of emails that you're sending out, in terms of texts that you're sending out, it's very, very important to be double checking everything that you're doing, right? Now, a lot of people believe that it's not even good to start, like to sign any contracts during Mercury retrograde. I don't go as far as to say that. I just feel like if you're going to be doing any of that, just be very mindful. Make sure that you're double checking, looking at the details very closely, reading the fine print, all the things. So Mercury retrograde isn't the best time to start anything new, but if there's something that you've been working on, something that you're in the process of doing, it's a great time to finish up those projects, right? So no starting anything new if you can, if you can help it, but a great time to finish projects, right? Along with that, it's also a really great time, like I said, to reassess, to regroup, to really get yourself together. All the words that you could think of, it's that time. Again, it's not a time to start anything new. It's not a time to dive into anything new. It's really a time about looking at the details, making sure that everything makes sense in order, doing everything right. It's really not a time to do anything new. Another thing, make sure that you are backing up your electronics, right? Like I said, a lot of times it affects our technology. It affects your computers, your phone, all that stuff. So before Mercury retrograde happens, I like to back up all my stuff because this is a time where like mysteriously files can go missing, that sort of thing. And we already know how much of a headache that is. Also, you want to be mindful of how you are communicating with people. Again, since Mercury does control communication, a lot of times communication can just come off wrong. This is whether you're talking to your friends, your loved ones, your family. This is whether you're texting, you're calling, whatever. People are a lot more sensitive. And especially with this retrograding in Pisces, people are going to be way more sensitive right now. So just be very mindful of how you speak. Also, make sure that you're listening before you speak, right? This is really a time to just kind of slow yourself down and making sure that everything that you're saying and doing is very intentional, okay? Because you don't want anything to get, you know, messed up, lost. You don't want to hurt any feelings. You don't want to get your feelings hurt. And it's really a tricky time where all of that can happen all at once and just let you have it and just like feel like your month is just done. Okay. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. I just wanted to give you a little bit of information about Mercury retrograde, what that means for us. This month it goes into retrograde February 16th, and I believe it goes back direct March 9th. Be mindful though that we are in a shadow period right now, meaning you are probably starting to feel some of the effects right now. I know I am. I get really tongue-tied during Mercury retrogrades. Like my computer acts crazy, like it'll just shut down on me, like weird stuff like that. So just kind of mentally prepare yourself for that. This is a great time to meditate. It's a great time to, if you love yoga, do it. It's a great time to do whatever it is that keeps you and helps you remain centered, because there's a lot of random things that could happen that just makes you feel like it just takes you completely out of your game. So I love you guys. Please let me know if you would like more videos like this, and don't forget to thumbs up. I'll talk to you guys later. Oh, videos for tarot readings, those are coming out very soon. Okay, so be expecting those in the next couple days. Those are going to be rolling out, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.